All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So our objective for today is that students will be able to compare exponential growth scenarios with different growth rates and different initial values. Okay, so first example that we're going to do is pretty straightforward. Okay, it's saying that Penelope started a fund for her dog Jax. She made the following calculation to predict the value of Jax's fund several years from now. So right here is telling us that the value is equal to $2,000 times 1.05 times 1.05 times 1.05 times 1.05. So we can actually figure out a lot of information just by looking at what we have right here, right? The first thing, what is the initial value, right? Value is going to be a dollar amount. So there's one clear dollar amount that's written right here. That's $2,000. So we know that Jax's initial investment based on this equation is $2,000. Second thing, we have to be specific. Asks us for the growth rate, right? Remember, the growth rate is a percentage. So looking at this equation, I see this number 1.05 multiplied a couple of times, right? 1.05 is actually a growth factor. So try not to get those mixed up, right? What we multiply from year to year is your growth factor. The growth rate is a percentage. So in this case here, the growth rate, if you remember what we did last time, I'm going to get by looking at what comes after the decimal point, 0.05. I need to convert that into a percentage. So that's going to end up being 5%. Now, next thing says, how many years are we actually talking about here? So in this scenario, I see that I started out with $2,000. I multiplied by 1.05 once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. So I'm going to assume that this is happening per year. So this looks like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, all right? So that number there is going to represent the value of Jax's investment of $2,000 with a 5% growth rate over a 4-year period, right? So to actually go and figure out that final value, right, into a calculator, I could just plug all this stuff in. 2,000 times 1.05 times 1.05 times 1.05 times 1.05, right? Or remember, we have exponents to deal with that notation. So a faster way that you could also write this here is just saying that's like 2,000 times 1.05 raised to the 4th power, because it's being multiplied 4 times, right? Then we go ahead, we take out our calculator, we multiply 1.05 to the 4th times 2,000. Bear with me for a second while I do that. And you get, if you don't make a mistake, $2,431.01. So let me write that out. $2,431. And guys, just something I really want to stress is do not leave off your decimals. In this case, the decimal only represents a penny, but in general, you want to leave those decimals in because they represent money, okay? So you're going to do that same exact thing on these 3 questions on the next page, right? Same exact thing. After you're done with that, something a little bit different is you're going to look at a scenario, okay? It says over here, Natalia's and Penelope's other grandmother offers them a choice between 2 different college fund options. Now, option 1, it says $1,000 at 3% interest per year. Option 2 says $800 at 6% interest per year. So just like what we did last week, I want you to try to figure out which of these 2 options is going to be better, right? Now, this is a little bit different from last week because I have different initial values and different growth rates. This one is 3%, this one is 6%, right? So in one case, you're starting off with a higher initial value and a lower growth rate. In this case, you have a lower initial value, but a higher growth rate. So the question is, what is more important? Would you rather have a higher growth rate, or would you rather have a higher initial value in the long run, right? And when you're answering that question, I also want you to think about, is one of these options a better bet up until a certain point, right? So for example, option 1 starts off with more money. Is there a point up, say, like, I don't know, 10 years, 20 years? How long does it take until maybe option 2 becomes a better bet? Or is option 2 better up to a certain point and then option 1 becomes better, right? So I want you to work on that there. Keep in mind, you may want to figure out what's the initial value, what's the growth factor in order to fill these out, right? Start with your initial value, multiply by your growth factor to move down the table. After you're done, answer your question here, and then the extension is a similar situation, except you're looking at 3 different banking options, all right? So good luck. If you have any questions, the Zoom session will be open, and I will see you there.